Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Districts. And my name is Susanna, and I live with trains. And today is all about a layout update and also a bit of a recap. This is purely because I've been off the last 2 weeks, so this is going to be the last video before I go back to work on Monday. And so normal service will then be resumed when you'll just get one video every so often. Now, I've been needing to catch up with you guys in terms of a layout update because a number of other things have cropped up, as well as me doing the work at St Anne's. So we're going to have a quick recap of what's happened in the last 2 weeks. So firstly, today, just following on from the rail replacement part 2 video, I wanted to sort of talk to you about, somebody'd asked me about the foam board, which is this stuff, and they'd asked where I'd got this from. Now, like I said, I did actually reply to the comment, but just to reiterate in case anyone else is interested, I actually got this from my local art shop, and you could probably get it from places like Hobbycraft too. And basically, I got a huge sheet for about £5, and it's gone such a long way. And like I said, I've still got this square piece here, which I can still make a building or something out of it. So just to let you guys know that if you are interested in it, you can get it from your local art shop or from Hobbycraft or something like that, I should imagine. Now today, I did a little visit outside, and that was quite tricky because it's down this end, it's very gusty and it's very, very cold as well. But I managed to venture out. I went to see Paul because I wanted to get some of these. These are, there you go, and it's Slater's Plasticard, and it's 4A27, and these are 24 seated passengers. Now, I'm not really a huge fan of painting people, but considering that I think it's Model Zone, I think, and there's a few, I mean, basically there's a lot of places that are selling figures maybe for about 5 or 6 figures for about £10-12 or something like that. And I think the Model Zone ones were actually £13 for half a dozen. Now this is 24 unpainted figures, and this cost me £8.50. So as much as I don't really enjoy painting figures, I'm going to have a go. I have painted some of my own figures in the past, so I'm going to give these a whirl and see how I get on. So that's going to be a little project, and that's also just to fill out both a little bit more at St Anne's and also at Mildenhall Riverside. And we'll see what we've got left with, and maybe try and do a few more, throw a few more around the layout. Now the other thing I did today was on Friday, in an attempt to try and get it ready for the video on the rail replacement video, I think it was the second one, which unfortunately I didn't quite make it. Now these are what you call test prints that were done, and I'll show you the proper ones afterwards. Sorry if I'm not paying attention to the camera. So all the advertising that you see on St Anne's, which is the South West train stuff, and also the station information board signs, and I also had some destination sort of displays as well that I'd done. I took them to my local printers on Friday. Now I resized them via paint on the computer, and from what I gather it was all going to fit on an A4 sheet of paper, and it did. But when it got printed out, it didn't the first time around it didn't really come printed out in how I expected it to get printed out, and they were far too big. So the ones for the South West Trains one actually fit all right at St Anne's, but they won't fit as well on Mildenhall Riverside, so I had to resize them. So I just thought I'd show you some of the test prints that I have. So this is for the destination displays, and these are all in black and white. This is for the information boards, but these bigger sheets give you an idea of actually what I'm actually going for. And then you've got the South West Trains sort of posters here. And when I sort of looked at them, as soon as they got printed off, I thought to myself, these are wrong. And the one that you can see here, actually, this will give you an idea. This is the slightly bigger size, because I still haven't used this one or cut this one up. So this is the slightly bigger size of the South West Trains posters. Now this is stuff that I've created myself, because what I did is I found these images online on Google, internet, wherever you want to call it, whichever browser you use. And I basically did a search for some posters on South West Trains. Now, obviously, if you model whatever period, you can sort of Google it and you might come up with some posters. So I came up with these and I managed to resize them. Like I said, it eventually went to that and then it got printed off like this. Now, these are the ones I actually used on St Anne's Station. And but they're still slightly too big. And I'll show you the difference in just a moment. So, like I said, that's the original version which I used at St Anne's, but I've now revised it to this one here. Now, as you can probably tell, quite significantly, they are quite significantly smaller and more appropriately sized, which is going to be fabulous moving forward now. So I'm not going to waste these ones because I can still use these. Like I said, I got these printed off at my local printers, and this is the new revised livery. And as you can see, it's the same posters, but essentially I've just resized them and now I've got more posters within the sheet. So that's great. So this is like my South West Train stuff. Obviously it won't suit everybody. Now if we move on to the next two will suit a lot of these modern modelers, including myself. Now, this was the, let me see, just to show you, that was the original test print for the big information boards, and this is the new version, and this is the colour version, and you can see again that there's a difference in the size. It's been resized, so it's actually a fair bit smaller, but that means that by having it a fair bit smaller, I get so much more on one page, which basically means, like the good old advert says, you know, one sheet is plenty. And it definitely applies here, and with the posters and with the destination boards, which I'm about to show you. One sheet is definitely plenty. This is going to last me for ages. Now, when you think about, you know, this kind of stuff here, the information and the timetables, the maps, it really depends on how big your station. If you've got a station with like quite a number of platforms, one sheet might not be plenty, because you sort of double side them, but you get a huge amount on this. I mean, I got this originally from, I think it was Sankey Scenics or something, that came with one of the Hornby magazines or something, or one of the other railway modelling magazines back in the day. And I actually had the forethought of actually keeping that and actually trying to keep it on my desktop and sort of use it in such a way that for future references, that if I wanted to make some more up, I could just do that, which is what I've done. And you can see, like I said, the difference in the size. Now, this is the one that's quite impressive, because you have a look at, this is the destination boards. Now, I gather that you can get this like for, I think it's West Hill Wagon Works and something like that, in conjunction with DCC Concepts, that you do destination displays and things like that. But again, these cost money. Now, this is the resized version of my destination displays. They're all the same, but you get the picture, you get the idea. You know, it's there, and essentially you use two per display, because you have a front side and a back side. So when you view it, depending where you are on the platform, will depend whether you see the front side or the back side, but the information is the same on both. And this whole sheet that I've resized and done, it's cost me 50p. So, and that's for this. And you can see the amount, there's tons and tons and tons of destination displays. Now, okay, you know, it sort of shows similar information or the same information all the way through, but that's not the point. It's just like a representation, and you can still see it. I mean, and at the end of the day, you know, if you get, unless you've got a digital display, you'll always have the same information displayed in any case. And all you need with this is just a bit of card to mount it on both sides, and either a matchstick or a toothpick for the post, and then you could just paint it up in whatever colour you desire. So, and that, like I said, cost me 50p. I'm not going to be paying silly prices for some of this stuff that they want from you, when you can make your own. And like I said, it will save you a huge amount of money. Like I said, this came from, I think it's one of the magazines back in the day or something, I can't remember. And I basically kept it, and then I've just basically copied and pasted it. So now I've got all that I need in terms of the posters. I've got the South West Trains stuff, the information, and I've also got the destination displays. I mean, I've also got the older ones, but that older ones I can still use for some of the other places. So there we go. So let's move on. So next on the agenda is, on the last few weeks, a couple of new items have arrived, rolling stock wise. Well, actually DMUs. Now, ironically, one of my viewers, I can't remember who it was, asked me yesterday in the comments about Susanna's Come Build With Me. And for those of you who aren't aware of Susanna's Come Build With Me, these were videos that I did to sort of show you how I do things in sort of sections. Like I showed you how to make, how to do wiring, I think it was, for the lighting. Showed you how to do embankments. I showed you some of the tools that I used. And so the new series of Susanna's Come Build With Me is going to be all about the Heritage Railway from start to finish. So that's going to be coming soon. And essentially, I wanted to do it like that because I just thought it'd be quite nice just to show you how I'm going to go about, and my thought process from start to finish, how I'm going to build this Heritage Railway. So essentially I'll be building a separate layout, and it'll be sort of developing in front of your eyes in terms of, you know, those videos will be specific to that railway, and that's going to be the Heritage Railway. So I'm toying with the idea of names. It's either going to be the Mildenhall Heritage Railway, or it's going to be the Mildenhall Valley Railway. So if you have any specific thoughts or ideas of what you like, please feel free to put it in the comments below and see what you think. You know, whichever one you like, just put that in and we'll sort of take it from there, really. So it's either going to be the Mildenhall Heritage Railway or the Mildenhall Valley Railway. And I'm planning on putting a green totem in the kitchen to reflect that. And that will be its own separate layout, which can be which is attached to Mildenhall Riverside, so it can still get to the main line. But I'll talk you through that as and when we get closer to the time. But the reason why I'm bringing this up now, because I have 2 units headed towards that way. Well, in fact, I've got a number of units, as you can see on the railway at the moment, because I was doing the work over at the far side at St Anne's. A lot of my stuff was evacuated. Now, I was talking to somebody yesterday, I think it was Gary, and the subject came up about how many units that I had, and we compared units. Now, I as it turns out, it looks like I have 12 units, DMUs, EMUs together. So 12 multiple units. And just on this little section alone, there is 1, 2, 3, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think. But anyway, I'm going to turn you around and we'll have a closer look. So just a quick scan round at Goswell Sidings, I should say, not Goswell Park, but Goswell Sidings, where I'd evacuated most of my DMUs. We'll start off with this DMU. This is the First Great Western Bachmann 3-car 166. And if I spin you around, now like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail onto my new units because I'll cover them in a later in a later video. So otherwise this video will take too long. Now you can see just to the left, you have my 150 GWR. And my new Heritage unit, which is this one here. And this is a Bachmann sound fitted DMU, and it is 32285 ASF, and it's a class 101 DMU with speed whiskers BR green. And let me tell you, this thing sounds absolutely awesome. It sounds fabulous. I'm really pleased with the sound file on this one, because I just think it sounds absolutely awesome. Unfortunately, I'm gonna actually do it freehand. The Bachmann 158, which is that one there, is absolutely gorgeous as well, but unfortunately that doesn't sound particularly great. I think it's to do with the sound file on that. I don't think the sound file is that great. I've changed the speaker on it and it still sounds a bit kind of tinny, and it doesn't. And even my brand new Southwest Trains one, it's very similar in terms of the sound file. In fact, I think it's exactly the same sound file, which I'm pretty certain it is, but it's actually got the original speaker in that, but it still doesn't sound great. And then you got, like I said, the 150 here, and this is my DEMU thumper, and that's going to have a new body on it, so that's going to go green as well. So I'm going to get a couple of bodies for that, for both ends, and that's going to go green. And then at the back there is the recently one that I showed you. My apologies for the shadows, but you can see that there's my 121 bubble car, which I had recently, and then we have the odd one out, which is a 37. But yeah, I've been running this little DMU around for a little while, but I haven't really run it properly because of all the work that's been going on. But it absolutely runs superb. It sounds awesome, and it just looks great running around. And like I said, this will be one of the ones that will be going onto the Heritage line. So like I said, I've already got 3 that I've just showed you. So there is actually another DMU to show you. Now the 101 was actually a trade-in, and so was this one. Now this is going to be the cheapest 3-car DMU that you can buy. And this was £161. And like I said, this was also another trade-in. I've really whittled down, I'm down to the bare bones of all my trade-ins that I've done now, and I'm perfectly happy with what I have left. I'm not doing it out of sort of like necessity as such. It's just that I do not want trains sitting here as dead money. So if I'm not running them or not using them, then I'd rather just sell them on and actually trade them in for stuff that I can use. Now, as you can see, I've got a bit of a kind of obsession with multiple units, but I do love running them because they're so easy to run. So this is one of the recent, most latest offerings from Hornby that they've brought out. Now, I did actually watch a video by Sam's Trains not so long ago, and he sort of did an old version of this, which is the old Hornby train. This is the new version. So this originally came out, I think, in the 70s or 80s, I'm not quite sure. But this is a re-release, and this is the Hornby Class 110 DMU. And it is R30170, and it is a Class 110 3-car DMU train pack. Here it is. Now, I must confess, I've already looked at it, it's already been chipped, and like I said, I'm not going to go too much into it, but I will give you a quick show and tell, and then we'll get into it a little bit later on, because otherwise this video will kind of drag on and on a bit. So I just wanted to give you an update just to say it is here. Now, it does come in this sort of eggshell carton box, and I have to say, considering it's 161, there's pros and cons to this, and it's very nicely, I have to say, it is very nicely done. It does look really smart, I have to say. But there are some compromises with this, as you would expect. I mean, when you consider that this costs £161, a brand new locomotive from Hornby will cost you upwards of that and around that, depending on which one you buy. So obviously, you know, bear that in mind if you're going to get something like this, but it's such a nice little locomotive DMU unit. And the nice thing is, this particular 166 is a Bachmann unit, And I've also got a 159 Bachmann unit, which is also 3-car. So this is a 3-car unit, and so is my Bachmann 159. And they've put the motor in the middle. So you can't run it as a 2-car unit. You have to run it as a 3-car unit because the centre car is the one that's powered. On this one, the actual motor is actually in one of the ends. So essentially, it's a case of you can run it as a 2 or as a 3, which is absolutely brilliant because it gives you that flexibility to actually run it as a 2 or a 3 on your layout. And this is it. And I have to say, it looks absolutely smart. It's really, 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 really nice. Now, as you can see, the downside is, for some reason, they're still using this old school couplings, which nobody uses anymore. But I guess that you get what you pay for. And the other thing you have to sort of bear in mind with this is that there's no lighting in it at all. But for some people, they might see it as a challenge. You know, sort of like, well, I'll put lighting in it myself or something. So you can do that if you want. And it's also got traction tyres. So those are the main sort of negatives, is the coupling, no lighting, and it's got traction tyres. Those are the main, well, I say those are the main ones, but there is one big drawback that I'm going to have to point out to you, that if you are going to buy this unit, is getting the body off. Please be very, very careful getting the body off, because the instructions are absolutely dire from Hornby. Because, let me see if I can find them, just so I'm not going to get shot for it, but I want to make sure I give you the right instructions. So these are updated instructions by Hornby, and it does say BR class 110, and I have to show you, it's got 2 arrows to lift off the body, and then it shows you at the bottom where the chip goes. Now, that's not correct, and so and it's not correct, and I found out. Luckily, I didn't find out the hard way. Unfortunately, Hornby have put the glazing through the clips through the glazing, which is always a bad idea. And I think there's 3 clips, 1, 2, and 3, and then there's one at the end and one at this end, which they don't tell you anything about. So essentially, they've just done this figure where you just kind of go, right, just hold on to the bottom and lift the body shell off. It isn't as simple as that. So please be really, really careful, because when I tried to get the body off, I kid you not, it took me nearly an hour to get the body off, because I couldn't work out why it was so difficult to get off. My VEP, which I bought, which I then returned to get that. That's how I got this one, was because I got rid of the VEP, the Southwest Trans VEP, because the lights didn't work properly. But anyway, that's a different story. When I took the body off to fit the decoder, the body just literally just popped straight off. Now this is the dummy car, so but you can see how gorgeous it looks. It really is smart. It really does look nice. At one end it says, I think one end it says York, and so this is the power car. Yeah, this is it. So this is the power car. So the plus points of this unit is that if you put the right decoder on it, it really runs nice. It's got the new Hornby motor. It's got better pickups than the old ones, and it's got an 8-pin socket. So that's really, really good. And like I said, I'm gonna see if I take the body off. There you go. I've taken the body off because essentially I've broken the clips deliberately. So just so you can see for yourself. There are 2 clips here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 5 and 6. I think they're at the back. There's another 2, and then you've got 1 at this end and 1 at that end, which they don't tell you about. Now, as you can probably see, I'm not really too sure if you can, but if you can, they've basically clipped it through the glazing, and that was such a bad idea, because you had these prongs sticking out of here, and it was clipped to the chassis, which you can see the holes, and it was just an absolute nightmare to get this body off. So what I've essentially done is I've basically deliberately broke and cut all the glazing clips off. So when I wanted to take the body off again, it's going to be a lot easier, like I've just showed you. And then that way, if I want to put a sound chip in it or anything like that, you know, I can take the body off, and this pops off as well, so you can put people on it if you want to put seated people on it. But there you go, there's the motor mechanism, so you can see it. That's where the 8-pin decoder goes, and it runs lovely, and I'm really pleased with it. Now, what I will say is, don't use a Gagemaster chip on these things, because for some reason it seems like it seems like that Hornby and Bachmann don't really go to, sorry, Gagemaster go together, and I don't think they even like Bachmann chips either. The chip that's in here is basically a Hornby chip. Sorry, I'm just trying to put this body back together, but in fact I'll just leave it and I'll sort it out afterwards. Right, so put the body back on. That was a bit harder than it was, but all I've done is I've kept the 2 end clips so it doesn't sort of just drop off. So like I said, that's how it looks. And like I said, it is a bit of a nightmare to get the body off, so please be careful, because like I said, when I was trying to take the body off, it was pulling out the windows and then they popped out and I've had to pop them back in, but luckily I didn't break them. But it is a very lovely little unit indeed. So here you go, that's on the track. Now the nice thing, like I said before, you can run it as a 2 car, which I think it looks really cute, but you can also run it as a 3 car. But thankfully Hornby put the motor in one of the ends, so you could actually have that choice of either running it as a 2 or whether or not you wanted to add the centre coach and run it as a 3. If I could get this on. There you go. So you can run it as a 3 with that centre coach. So you've got that flexibility and that option, which is really smart. And I'll just take you off the tripod quickly and give you a quick show. So here you go, I'm going to do this freehand, so forgive me if it's a bit wibbly bobbly, but just to try and give you a closer view of the DMU. Like I said, it's got no lighting at all in it, which makes it easy for the decoder. And like I said, I've just put an old Hornby one. It didn't like the Gagemaster one at all, and I suspect, well, actually, I don't. Can you get 8-pin? I can't remember if you can get 8-pin Bachmann ones, but basically, it doesn't like a Gagemaster one. If you put a Hornby one, it runs lovely, and you can see, you know, it might not be like the best of details in terms of what you get compared to Bachmann, but it has been improved a lot. The bodywork is really nice. The paint finish is really nice, and like I said, I think for the £161, which I paid for this, well, that I exchanged for this, is just, you know, I don't think you can argue. Like I said, now thankfully I've got the body off and sorted that out. That was the main thing. So there you go. So that was the Class 110 3 car DMU, the cheapest DMU you'll find on the market. And once again, if you are interested, it is R30170, and it is the BR Green Class 110. And that will cost you anywhere between 160 and 170, maybe 180, depending on where you shop and where you go. And again, that will be for the Heritage line when I get round to building it, which won't be too long now. Now, something else I want to show you is on my last video, I said that I was waiting on a GWR Dapol 74 signal junction, and here it is. Yes, it's arrived, and it arrived today. And before I opened it and installed it, I thought I'd show you the box, so you can, for those of you who don't know, just to see what you get in the box. And this is kind of like the servo unit, and there's the junction home signal, then you get some switches, and then you get some power leads, but you don't actually, the power lead is actually connected to the box itself, and then you've got to wire it into your own power supply. And they recommend 12 volt DC is what I've been told, which is what I was running in anyway. And that's what the other two are powered. So we're going to go over there and actually show you them in action. So here we are at the curve at St Anne's, as you come around towards St Anne's station, and you've kind of got this view of the semaphore and the switches here. And I wanted to show you that just so you can actually see it, how it works. Now this, just to show you, the layout isn't actually powered at the moment at all, but it is all connected to the 12-volt transformer. Now on here, so that switch there powers the ambient sounds, and this was off a Gauge Master, one of those Gauge Master thingy bobs, sound effect boxes, which I plugged underneath, and it used to be over at Goswell Park, but it isn't now. If you switch this one on, you can sort of see that the semaphores have activated, and then you can see the one on the left, it's dropped, and then if you press the one on the right, the other one drops as well. So this goes to show you. Now that's kind of the master switch, and so is this one, but this is the master switch that then powers the rest of that's going to power the rest of the semaphore signals. Now if I show you over here, you can probably see this, you can actually see this, the distant over there, and I'll press the other switch and you can see that that's now lit up. Hopefully you can see that. I'll try and get in a bit closer so you can see. Now this is connected to the same 12-volt supply as the other one, and this one's got a momentary switch, so you press the button and it drops, you press it again and it goes back up. Because basically if you don't add these separate switches in, then your signals will be powered all the time. So there you go, you can see that that's on. You can see the one on the distant, that's on as well. Now ideally that distant signal, I'd like to have moved it and put it over here. But unfortunately, because of me leaning over things and looking at the back towards the fiddle yard and stuff, it's likely to get damaged and broken there. So which is why I've put it over here, because I've got no real reason to sort of really lean over there. And plus I'm protected by this, and I'm protected by the higher point of the fascia here. So I didn't really want to lean over and then inadvertently knock it. And I mean, I've had to be careful with this one, because a few times I've kind of gone over to stretch over and I've felt myself touching the edge of this, and thankfully I haven't broken it or anything like that. So the one that I've got in the box is exactly the same as this one, and I'll show you where that's going to go. So that signal is going to go just about the other side of this lamppost, about there somewhere, probably a bit further up actually, and then that will cover the point that's there, and will cover the two platforms that are going to be over here, that are here already. As you can see, I've already started populating it with some figures, so that's something else I've been doing today, just adding the extra figures in. And then you can also see the information boards and the stickers that I'd already done before, so that's what I've been doing. And let's just zoom out of that a bit. You can see some more of the figures that I've added and things like that. Now what I'm going to do is quickly switch you off and switch it off in the dark, so you can see in the dark what it looks like. So here we have St Anne's in the dark, fully lit up, just the layout lights, no other lighting. And you can see how that looks. And at the top there you can see the bus depot as well. That's been put back together again. As you come back down, you can sort of see down this end. And round we go. And then as you come around here, it gets a bit darker, but it's still there. Again, this is just the layout lights. Now let's see the semaphore signal at night. So that's showing amber. That looks looks really, really nice, that does. And then you've got the lighting here. And then you've got the two here. And they look really, really smart as well. Let's just drop on. I just love that bounce. So there you go. That's this end at night. It's going to be interesting to run a cab ride through here at night now, just to see. I'm really looking forward to that with the signals, semaphore signals lit up as well. That just adds extra to it. I think it's going to be really cool. So the last thing to show you, which is not strictly model railway related, but it's more bus related. Like I said, my new bus is on show. For Dave Chaston, who might be watching, this is 18510. This is based at our Basingstoke depot. Sort of struggling to focus. But one of the other things I've done this week is my old destination blind I've put up. I've got another one that goes up. So this week I actually put it up and I actually powered it up. I put some lighting in it. And so you can sort of see what it's supposed to be showing. And it's just powered via USB down to a 12-volt supply. So that's really cool. That's something else I've been doing this week, as well as redecorating my bedroom. So this concludes the end of today's video. And just before we go, I'd like to sort of talk to you quickly about my VGym. This is something I got off of Amazon, and I have to say I've had it a little while now and it's proved totally invaluable. In fact, I'm using it right now to help with the lighting in this area and with my filming. I didn't use it throughout this whole video, as you may have noticed in places that I could have done with using it, but I have been using it and it is a fabulous piece of kit. It's a VGym, and it's just, you just put it onto your tripod and you've got extra light to illuminate, so to help you with video filming. But it's really been helpful just to get under the baseboards because it's flat. I could just light flat, and it's been really invaluable for that point as well. But anyway, this concludes the end of today's video, and thank you for watching. And my name's Susanna and I live with trains, and it's now time for me to go back to work on Monday. So bye for now. Bye bye.